Welcome to the Sportz Phenz Show. The show where, just like you, we can't get enough sports.
The 47-year wait is over! And the Nuggets win it! Wilson throwing, it's up for grabs, and it's caught for the touchdown! And the Denver Broncos have taken Super Bowl 50. And the Avalanche are 2022 Stanley Cup champions! And a shot into the back of the net for Diego Rubio!
Now here's your hosts, Arthur Knight and Larry Perkins.
1-0 Rapids. They are champions.
Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to the Sportz Phenz. I am Arthur Knight, and with me, as always, is Mr. LP Larry Perkins.
What up, guys?
We are coming to you live today from 4300 West Alameda here in Denver, Colorado. Come on by the Sohai Cafe. Say what's up to Vinny. Get you some Viper Pit barbecue. Tell him the Sportz Phenz sent you and see if you can get you a 10% discount. Call ahead. Follow him on IG, Sohai Cafe. Come on down, 4300 West Alameda. Come see us live sometime. All right, we are also being brought to you by INV Vision. INV Vision is from the community and for the community. They have comprehensive comprehensive eye exams, and they take most, if not all, insurances. I got these fancy specs from them. Go on down, see Bryson, tell him the Sportz Phenz sent you. 700 South Buckley. It's just off of Buckley and Buckley and Alameda.
Yeah, I got an appointment.
It's in that area. That's what's up. Yeah, they only carry Gucci and they carry all of these top end. Like I said, they take insurance. So go on by.
They take cars.
Yeah, they take almost all.
They take mostly all. Yeah.
Exactly. 700 South Buckley Road, Unit K, IMV Vision. We see you. All right. So we got a lot to get to. The draft. This crazy draft.
I actually sat and watched 2 full rounds from Thursday and part of Friday, And
I watched all 3 rounds.
You did? Okay.
I did.
Okay.
I mean, all 3 days, I should say. There's more than 3 rounds, but yeah, I watched it all.
Yeah.
I like to watch the draft all the way through because some of these guys, you won't hear their name until after they've been drafted.
Exactly.
So, I want to see who went where, and especially when it comes to the AFC West, I was watching that like a hawk to see what they were going to do. And, right. I believe it was the NFC North and the AFC West were the 2 best divisions, sending 3 teams to the playoffs.
Right.
And with that said, the AFC West and I would say the NFC North got tougher, if that could even happen. But they did. They got tougher. But let me ask you this, because, now that the AFC West has, 4 elite coaches, right?
Right.
For Hall of Fame, could be considered Hall of Fame. I mean, Harbaugh still has to build a resume a little bit, right? He has a little bit of a resume in San Francisco.
He's on his way.
Right. He's got Herbert. They could write a pretty good story, right?
Exactly.
But still, 3 top upper echelon coaches in the AFC West, right?
Right.
Most teams would kill to have any one of those coaches. You've got the top tier quarterbacks, 4 top tier quarterbacks. Yeah. And Gino, I mean, he did make an All-Star, right? Not an All-Star, but
a Pro Bowl.
A Pro Bowl,
right?
Right. So he's no slouch. He's probably the weakest of the 4. But still a good quarterback, serviceable. Right. Obviously took Seattle to the playoffs a couple of times. I mean, he seems to be getting better and better every year. Yeah. So to have all of that in one division is crazy to me.
It's going to be a battle.
It's going to be a good season. I mean, it's going to be very hard to get wins within the division. Outside of the division, most all 4 of these teams should be getting those dubs all day.
Right.
But within the division, man, those 6 games that they each have to play each other, you know, those are going to be the toughest games this season. But I said all of that to ask you this. Are you happy with what your team did yesterday or the last couple of days on draft days?
I am.
Okay, because you guys drafted 6 overall, right?
Right. We drafted 6 overall. We
Right.
drafted
Ashton Genty.
We drafted 58.
Right.
And we drafted 68.
Right.
We got the kid from TCU. He's pretty good.
Well, let's start with round 1. So you got a running back, right? You're gonna jump around on me now.
That happened when I get excited.
I know.
So no, we're gonna
So round 1, you guys got Ashton Genty,
right from
a
Boise
running
State,
back, right? A lot of people said he would go pretty high.
Right.
We got to see. I mean, he was pretty much utilized in Boise State. Like he's got a lot of yards. But
and if you know,
solid running back.
If you know anything about Pete Carroll when he was at USC and when he was in Seattle, he always want that running back, that bruising type. He reminded me of LaDainian Tomlinson when he was with the San Diego Chargers. You know what I'm saying? So he wants that running back to spear his offensive attack, and that was the first thing he did in the first round to get him. And I was ecstatic about it.
I think that was a pretty good pick by them. That gives, if this kid steps in and steps right in, I mean, 6 overall, you got to play. You got to play this kid. You cannot. But
he
bench
does it
him.
all. He does it all.
That's what I hear. He was pretty high on most draft boards for running backs.
Well, of course, I'm going to see footage like Boise State footage, but he's good. I mean, he blocks. He catches out the backfield.
He's basically a utility back.
He throws the ball. I'm like, look, so see.
Yeah, he's basically a utility back. He can basically do anything, a little bit of everything.
So that was a no-brainer.
Yeah, no, that was a good pick. And then in the second round,
we got Beck. We got the wide receiver,
Yeah, Jack Beck. So added a little bit to the wire because you guys had barely anything last year.
Yeah, only thing we had is Jacoby Myers.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the other one, but it was Jacoby Myers after we traded, oh boy. You know what I'm saying? But we very bare at wide receiver, but we got a couple of wide receivers, in this draft,
But now you got at least one.
Well, we got 2. Well, we got one later on down.
In
the fifth. But we got this one. Right
I was going to say this guy's
from
from Texas Christian.
Right.
They produce wide receivers like.
Yeah.
You can bet that kid's going to probably be impactful, especially if they line them up on the same side as the tight end they picked last year.
Yeah.
Why do I keep forgetting that boy's name?
Who?
Every time the tight end that you guys picked last year.
I know, and
like he was like rookie of the year, damn near. What is that boy's name?
Now
How do you not know,
bro? It's just at the tip of my tongue right now.
It doesn't have long to live.
I'm just so excited about this draft. Yeah.
What is his name? No. I was about to say Crosby. Ain't that a?
No.
Oh, y'all got Mostert too from Miami.
Yeah.
I forgot y'all signed him. What is that boy's name? Somebody in the text line, bail us out here.
I know.
Why can't I find it?
Well.
And why don't you know it? Why don't you know your team, man?
I do not know.
Okay. Anyway.
Yep.
I have come across like 3. God dang it. 3 tight ends on the depth chart, and he's not one of them.
That's sad.
Hold on.
My half.
I think I got it. Brock Bowers.
Damn, that's sad. That is Brock Bowers.
So, okay. Whew, after that long stint of
Thank you, Raiders
wasting
fan.
time.
I know. Thank you, Raiders fan. I'm being.
So Bowers, if they line this kid, Jack Beach, up on the same side as Bowers, man, that could be problematic for every team but the Broncos. And we'll get to that here in a second.
But I'm just
So round 3.
But I just want to get this. People sleeping on Darian Porter. I see Darian Porter from Iowa. He's a good corner.
Well, that's who you guys picked.
Yeah, he's a good corner. If people sleeping on him, he even said it during his little introduction when the lady interviewed me. He said, "Y'all done slept on me." So
yeah, well,
he's nice.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
I mean, I never watched Iowa State.
He wasn't higher than the on the board than on most draft boards.
He went 68. Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't that high, and yeah, we may have slept on you, bro, but we'll see. We'll see.
Well, that's
you guys also took Jalen Smith from USC, or no, excuse me, Caleb Rogers from Texas Tech.
That's nice.
Offensive tackle Charles Grant from William and Mary. Never heard of him.
No.
But another offensive tackle. So I see what they're doing here.
I thought the biggest news is we got Cam. We got Cam, man.
Got Cam?
Yeah, we got Cam at quarterback. Cam Miller from South Dakota University.
Why are you jumping ahead, man? Stay on track.
I'm excited, bro.
Stay on track, bro.
This was the best draft we had in almost a decade, bro.
Stay on track.
This the best draft.
All right, so round 4, Dante Thornton, wide receiver out of Tennessee.
That was the other one I was telling you about, but I kind of jumped ahead.
Yeah. Stay in your lane. Why? Then they also got Tonka Hemingway.
No, that sounds big.
Let me see. What is this guy's position?
I think he's a defensive tackle. If I'm not.
Yeah, he is. He's
okay.
DT.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what they're doing here, though. I see what the Raiders are doing here.
They're cooking?
Well, I mean, this is exactly what Pete Carroll did in Seattle.
That's what I was.
Yeah, he's basically just taking his whole book, like the book he wrote in Seattle, and bringing it to
it won a Super Bowl.
Las Vegas. It did win a Super Bowl.
So I would go back to that book.
It did. That's why I said the AFC West got tougher. I mean, the Raiders are still in 4th place no matter what, but it did get tougher.
We still a little bit under construction, but hey, building blocks. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. Building blocks.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Okay, so that's all you guys got in round 5. Round 6. Pick number 180 is JJ. I'm going to massacre this. Peas. I just massacred that name. But anyway, defensive tackle, so they're beefing up the middle. Yeah. But most of these guys, we'll see. We'll see, man. Sometimes you can find a diamond in the rough.
Always.
And then Tommy Mellott. Is that how you say it? Mellott?
Mellott.
Mm-hmm. Quarterback from Montana State. Never heard of her.
Cam.
Then you got Cam Miller, QB out of North Dakota State. Never heard of her.
Never heard of her.
Then we go to round 7. Cody Lindenberg, linebacker out of Minnesota. I have heard of him though. That's actually a pretty good pickup.
He is the reason he went that low because of his injuries.
Yeah, but if he can stay healthy though, that's a good pickup. That's a good pickup right there.
Hopefully he hasn't been.
Especially in round 7, bruh. Like that dude was supposed. He would be in a 3rd or 4th rounder.
He was in college. He was constantly getting hurt.
Yeah.
So did you see why he slipped that low?
I did.
Yeah.
We'll see though. We'll see.
Come on.
All right. So now we go to the Broncos. Broncos pick number 20.
Jade.
And I some people in Denver, most that aren't real Bronco fans, or at least aren't NFL savvy, think that the John Day Barron pick was a bad pick.
He's a bad boy.
Fans always think that in the every pick needs to be a need.
Our name.
Yeah, and it's just like there wasn't any running backs, or we don't need a quarterback, right? There wasn't any like wide receivers jumping off the page that you can't get in the 2nd or 3rd, 4th or 5th round. There wasn't anything that jumped off the page. This guy was top. He was the best on the board. Now you have 3 bona fide Excuse me.
I mean, when I seen they picked him, I was like, the draft is for people that watch, that does their research. Because the thing is, I'm not gonna profess that I'm this great, Mel Kiper or whatever, But the thing is, after I look, I go do my research. I watch video and stuff, and I seen Jade. And for somebody from the Broncos fandom,
played in Texas, so he played in a tough league, right, or in a conference that was solid.
The thing is, he's big. He's one of those big bruising type of, that'll beat up a wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? So that's good.
So, as I was saying, he was the top player on the board at the time. You now have 3 bona fide cornerbacks in Riley Moss, PS2, and Jahdae Barron, right? You've got 3 bona fide corners. Looks like it's shaping up to be another no-fly zone, man. And as I said, a few minutes ago, you have 4 top-tier quarterbacks in this division. I see what the Broncos were trying to do. I see what Sean Payton was trying to do. You cannot beat the Chiefs without coverage. You can't. Look what happened to the Chiefs when they went up against a solid defense, and now that they've declined a little bit and they've had to get rid of some pieces because of, having to pay Kelsey, having to pay Mahomes, having to pay, certain players that have gotten their paydays. Now they're in a bind. As I said last year they were going to be in this bind. And that's why they lost the Super Bowl. They came up against a premium defense that had 3 solid corners. They didn't have Pro Bowlers, but they had 3 solid corners. The Broncos have better than that. They do have a Pro Bowler. And Riley Moss, had he not gotten injured last year, he probably would have been a Pro Bowler too, because of the fact that they throw it at him more than PS2 because of the fact that PS2 is on the other side. They ain't trying to throw at him, so they throw at Riley Moss, and he held his own all season against all of the top tier quarterbacks that they needed him to do. And if anybody tries to push back on me on that, I implore you to look at when Riley Moss got injured last year. How big was that and significant was that drop off on the corner position when they knew that they could throw to that side away from PS2?
They probably most likely moved, Jahdae probably safety or something.
No, they'll play him at the nickel. The Broncos already have safeties. He'll compete for Riley Moss's spot.
He got to play now.
No, not necessarily.
He's that good.
Well, we'll see. Is he better than what the Broncos already have? We don't know that. By college standards, yes. By NFL standards, we don't know. You never know. The draft in any league, any sport is a crapshoot. It is a gamble. You are betting on this kid coming out of college. You are betting on him being able to do the same things he did in college with grown-ass men in the NFL. Everybody's fast in the NFL. Everybody's strong in the NFL.
When I see these guys and then I look film on them, the first thing I look for is habits. I don't look for how fast or how strong he is. I look for habits. And certain players, like I seen with the Raiders, with Darian Porter and now with Jahdae Barron, they have habits that's only going to get better in the next level.
Well, and the Broncos seem to have really good coaches that can coach up cornerbacks. I mean, even though the drop-off when Riley Moss went down last year, even though the drop-off was significant, they still played well enough to make it to the playoffs, right? So that's coaching. And I'm trying to pull up Jahdae Barron's stats here. Okay, so let's see.
Yeah. But I think overall the AFC just improved themselves, The
AFC West especially, but yeah.
And it's NFC North. NFC North. We talked about the NFC North too. But, I was a big fan of them. I'm not going through, what they picked or anything right now. But the thing is, I'm talking about 2 of the toughest divisions in NFL period.
Let's see. All right, so combine. He's 194 pounds, 71 inches tall. What is that? Why are they trying to make me do math?
I would say about
I didn't say there was any math in this.
I would say about 6'3".
Yeah, he's like 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah.
Let's see. He's 23 years old, so he's a seasoned kid. You know what I'm saying? That means he stayed in college. It doesn't look like he has any major injury history.
He didn't go in the portal.
Let's see. Yeah, it's not giving me any kind of like any like of his collegiate stats. So, anyway, I still think, like, I pulled it up yesterday, but I don't know why I didn't save the damn page. But I would say that the Broncos are creating a new, like, no-fly zone 2.0. They already have solid safeties. You have PS2. You have Riley Moss, who's coming back from a knee injury. But after he came back last season and played in the playoffs, was he 100%? Probably not. But he will be coming back this year. And it's going to be a competition. He's going to have to fight for his job. But here's the crazy thing is this pick in Jahdae Barron, he can play. He can play that nickel slot. He can play that dime slot.
He can play wherever
you need him to be. So he doesn't necessarily have to compete with Riley Moss. And Riley Moss will probably have to compete with him next year. I don't think he'll have to compete with him this year. I think the Broncos already know what they have in the number 1 and number 2 corner that they have. But yeah, with that said, I think that's a good pick. Would I have wanted a running back or a defensive tackle? Yes.
Well, you got one.
But there wasn't. I'm saying at that spot, creme de la creme, top tier. There wasn't any.
You're not.
Kenneth Grant was already picked.
Hampton was already picked.
They were already gone, man. All of these people. Harmon wasn't picked.
Hampton was.
Oh, Hampton.
Hampton was. He went. Trying to see where he go to, but he went like in the.
No, Hampton. You talking about the running back?
Yeah, he went.
No, he went to the Chargers after the Broncos picked Jahdae Barron.
Ooh, well, that was a good one though. You could.
Yeah, but obviously he wasn't who the Broncos wanted.
His typical.
He doesn't fit what they're trying to do.
Okay.
I would have wanted that guy too, but I think this was the better pick. I really do. Yeah. I think as Sean Payton, as Coach Payton has said several times, the two things that do benefit a quarterback the most is defense and running back. And he didn't say running back defense. He said it in that order because the defense is what gives you more possessions. The defense shortens the game and allows you to, to not have to play from behind all the time. And that's been the Broncos' problem for the past 7-8 years is they've constantly had to play from behind. And then you can't utilize your running back, right? Because you have to pass the ball all the time.
Right.
So I get it. He's trying to beef up and bolster this defense, especially on the back end of the defense, because I think the Broncos don't have any problems getting after the quarterback, right?
Right.
They've got their guys that they have 2 guys that can get after the quarterback. Mm-hmm. They didn't have any major problems stopping the run unless they were coming up against like huge names like Henry or something like that. But everybody has problems with those running backs. But for the most part, the Broncos were solid in the run game, enough to win enough games to make it to the playoffs. That's all I have to say about that. Yeah, were they great? Were they stellar? No, but they were solid enough, and now I think that the Broncos are trying to beef it up to the point in the back end to where they have covered sacks, right? If you have 3 corners that can cover your top 3 wide receivers and blanket them, and now you can only rely on your tight end and maybe another wide receiver like your 4th option.
Wow, good luck with that.
Good luck.
I mean,
how do you get the ball to your 4th option when you have 2 like a Benito coming at you in 2.5? You have to get that ball out of your hands, right? Right?
Yeah,
so, yeah, I think that the Broncos made the right decision, and I think Bronco fans need to take a chill pill. trust me when I say in week 3 or 4, you're going to see why this kid was chosen. Like Larry said, I watch film on this kid too, like watching some of his games. This kid has instincts. He has a radius, just like a wide receiver. He's no Travis Hunter. He's not Travis Hunter, but this kid won best defensive back of the year, right? He won that this year. And that was over Travis Hunter. And even though I do not believe he should have won that, because how do you win best defensive player and you're a DB, but you don't win best DB? That just never made sense to me, and I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but that never made sense to me. But this kid did win best DB. That means he was the second best, to me, the second best corner in coming into the league. So I'm all for them picking him. I think you're going to have three cornerbacks that can smother your best 3 wide receivers, and I don't know what you're gonna have to pick your poison if you're Mahomes. You're gonna have to pick your poison if you're Herbert. You have to pick your poison if you're Geno Smith. Like, they're gonna have to make decisions, like business decisions. Like when you have Benito and what's his name? I believe it's Johnson. When you have 2 guys that can come off the edge and sack you within under 3 seconds, not to mention you have guys like Allen and stuff that push the middle up towards you because they get sacks too.
It's going to be a lot of interceptions.
Bruh, you have to make some decisions now. You have to make some decisions. You want to take that heat? Pop! You want to take that heat? Or are you going to throw it and try to squeeze it in there? Or are you going to be, try to get to that 4th option?
Yeah.
Or just know that you only have your 4th option, only look for him. Because
you guys did draft an interesting running back, though, with the next pick.
That is true. R.J. Harvey, running back out of UCF. Again, like the pick, I don't think that the Broncos...
It was a safe pick.
It was a safe pick. And because they let Javonte go, they had to fill his role. But I still think with Batty, with all the running backs that the Broncos still already have under contract, I think that's why the Broncos were okay with not picking a running back in the top spot, because they have if they can build off of what they did last year and what is his name, McCullum,
oh, the guy you got in free agency?
No. I'm trying to think of his name. They already a running back that the Broncos already have.
See, I told you it's not just me. You know what I'm saying? I can't remember.
No, I remember his name. I just can't think of it.
That's one thing about football. It's just so many. We talking about 60. How many players on a football team? 60 something. It's a lot of players, including practice squads and stuff. I mean, you can't. It's not like basketball.
There's 52 players on an active roster.
But I'm talking about.
But they have Estime, they have Batty. What is that boy's name? Because he's the one that led the Broncos. He led the Broncos, I believe, at 5.7 yards a carry, but he didn't get a lot of carries, and that was the. Don't tell me they let him go. Jaleel McLaughlin, running back. But he's a small guy. He's not I'm saying he's a small guy. In comparison
to the
average running back. No, in comparison to an average person, he's ginormous. Compared to other NFL players, and running backs, he's small. He's not what's his name, small though, that played for CU and played for the Broncos. He's on 104.3 The Fan. I'm brain farting on names today. He's from Colorado, actually from Colorado. Anyway, I'm not going down that rabbit hole. But he's smaller. He's smaller than the average running back, right? So and he's more of a change of pace, but he was averaging 5.7 to 6 yards a carry. And then they have Batty, they have Estime, they have other guys in the room that actually did play fairly well, but they had to give Javonte his shot because he was a top pick.
So McLaughlin is still on you guys' roster, right?
Correct.
Okay, so that means that they'll probably use him more They'll probably lean on him more next year. They probably.
I'm thinking that they're going to lean on Estime. I think they're going to allow Estime, because Estime also had 5 to 6 yards per carry, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but he was somewhere in that realm. So, I mean, maybe even if it's 4, we still need it to be that. Javonte, as much as I loved that dude and his running style before he blew his knee out, he was only getting you like 2.6 yards a carry.
Ouch.
And that's not enough. That's not enough to take the pressure off of your pass game.
Right.
But I believe this kid, R.J. Harvey, is still a good pick. I think he's going to compete. He's going to compete in that room. Estime and Batty are now, I don't think McLaughlin's on the bubble, but I do think Estime and Batty, because that's the guy that R.J. Harvey is. He's that he's their style of player, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, so they're the ones that are on the bubble and are going to have to compete with this dude. McLaughlin, he's not. He's their change of pace back. The only thing he can't do is block a 250-pound middle linebacker coming up the middle, because he's 190 pounds. And even then, I've seen him like throw his entire 190 pounds at a linebacker just to give Bo Nix an extra half or 1 second of time to get the ball out. I've seen that happen. I don't want to see that happen too often, though, with him, because he's not a very big guy. But anyways, moving on, round 3, because we still got to get to basketball, because there's so much craziness that happened. All right, so round 3 for the Broncos. The Broncos went wide receiver, Pat Bryant out of Illinois. Okay. Again, now we're addressing needs. That's what most people don't understand. The people that aren't savvy, to the NFL or even basketball, the NBA or whatever, about the draft is
strategic,
in round 1, you don't go for need unless that the top player on the board is your need. Like, then you go for your need, but you go for the best talent
available.
You go for the best player. Every team does that. You go for the best player available in the first round. I don't care if you're picking 31st. There are guys that fell out that were high off of or high on other people's boards or on your board. They were high. They were supposed to be a top 10 pick. MPJ, for example, was that. He was supposed to be a lottery pick, right? But yet his injuries and stuff made him fall to the Nuggets in the, that 20, maybe he was 15 or something like that. But anyways, he wasn't in a lottery. He wasn't even in the top 10 when he should have been a top 3 or 4, right? So with that said, just keep that in mind next year or when you're watching. Thank you for showing up to my TED Talk. But just make sure you keep that in mind, Denver, especially Bronco fans, man. You guys, we used to have some of the most savvy fans around, just logical fans. And now it seems like we just have these bandwagon people that came on when Peyton Manning came over. And I'm not knocking Peyton Manning. I'm just saying we have these bandwagon people who haven't been here since like the 80s watching this team. And you're welcome. I'm not saying jump off the bandwagon. You're welcome. But just be savvy. Be smart. Think about something before you say it.
Hey, fans, man.
I get it, but you should still be a savvy fan. You can be a fan and still have a logic about yourself.
It's a lot of, like old heads, you know what I'm saying?
Nah.
Mostly people out here, I ain't trying to get on, younger people and stuff. They just like for the moment, They're like, hey, let me he looked like
we
his jersey
need quick gratification, fast and quick. No, but here's the thing, Larry. Here's the thing. You've got to know that. That's why. Okay, so I saw a clip. I can't remember if it was on Facebook or YouTube, but I saw a clip of a short of fans that aren't savvy. Like when the Bills picked their quarterback, what's his name, Josh Allen, right? When they picked him, they showed a clip of all the fans that were there going, "Oh my God, why would you pick him? Boo!" Like booing. Now they're like, "Oh yeah, Josh Allen.
He's like the second best
quarterback
in a franchise other than Jim Kelly."
Right, and he's the second best quarterback or arguably the second or third best quarterback in the league right now statistically. So, I mean, you can argue he's in the top 4 for sure. For sure. I mean, maybe not give him 1, maybe not give him 2, but he's definitely 3 or 4. And some would argue that he's one or two. But here's the bottom line. Just keep in mind that you only pick for need in round 2 on down. Round 1, if there is somebody that's on the board that should have been picked well before your pick, and you take that person.
Yeah, it's common knowledge because you have only 32.
But it's not so common, bro.
You have
It's not
32
so common.
teams. You have 32 teams. Okay, and you know how many university and colleges you have around the country? You know how much talent there is?
3 times that.
Exactly. So you're definitely going for talent-wise, you know?
Yeah.
And it would be remiss of me to say that maybe in the early second rounds you'd be doing that same thing, your same tactics, so looking for talent.
And if you look at it, the Broncos did exactly that. They took a cornerback that was high on the draft board of all teams. He was very high on the draft board. The only person higher than him on defensive side of the ball in that position was Travis Hunter. That's the only person. So the bottom line is that they if you look at it chronologically, the Broncos did exactly that. They chose the highest dude the highest player on the board, or the highest rated player on everybody's draft board, and then they started picking needs. Mm-hmm. Running back was the first need, picked him. Second round. Yeah, because all these wide receiver need, third round.
Yeah, because all these teams got their boards. You know, every team, they're like, this who we want, this who we want. They have about at least 5 to 10 players like on their wish list.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And then they went.
And
go ahead.
All of them, I'm just saying, if all of these 10 players on their wish list goes in the first round or goes before them after they get their wish list pick, after that, if those 10 players are going after the first round, then we go to needs.
Then you go to needs.
Right.
If there's literally, but that's just, I'm sorry, I went too far down this rabbit hole. We do need to.
It's understandable, but yeah.
So then
you have to.
I mean,
let them know.
I've been seeing a lot of posts on our Facebook and a lot of posts other places like, why would they do that? Why would they pick a corner? They don't need a corner. They have 2 corners. Well,
he's the best. He's the best. The other one you think that is good, he might get slighted. He might get traded. He might get waived. The thing is, you're going for youth. If you have a talented young player, he's gonna be better.
Not to mention now Riley Moss has a injury history. Right now, if Riley Moss gets injured, the drop off isn't so significant.
Hello.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Like now it's like there's no drop off. There's no drop-off. If this kid is who they think he is, there's no drop-off if Riley Moss goes down. There's a significant drop-off if PS2, knock on wood, goes down. I don't care. There's a significant drop. You can't replace him.
Right.
You would need 2-3 guys covering one guy to replace PS2, but that's, I digress.
Yeah.
Then the Broncos go, I wouldn't necessarily call this a need. I think this was just a want. And just to get younger and maybe, because Benito and them, are getting not long in the tooth, but definitely they're getting to the point where the Broncos are going to have to pay them.
That's the nature of the game.
I'm just being business minded, bro. Like I'm a fan, but I know business is like, business is business. There's a business aspect to this stuff. So they went with Q Robinson. Great pick. This guy can get after the quarterback. And now you have 3 guys. 3 guys on the defense that can edge rush, plus the middle is beefy with Allen, et cetera, et cetera. But let me get to round 5, and let me get through these picks real quick because I do want to get to the NBA. I want to get to that. We got to get to that. There was just too much craziness that went on. Actually, I don't think the Broncos chose in the 5th round. Now that I think about it, they did not.
You want to get about Shador? You don't think we have enough time?
We're going to talk about Shador, but like I said, I want to. No. We're going to talk about Shador.
Okay.
And then in round 6, the Broncos draft a punter out of Florida.
Don't do that.
That's the only one that I'm just like, why? Why would you draft? Why would you waste a draft? I don't care that it's around 6, but that's the only one that actually got under my skin, bro.
We drafted Janikowski, man.
That's the only one that got this guy better be the 20 years. He better be punting the ball for the Broncos to waste a draft pick on this dude.
I'm sorry. You said a punter.
Yeah.
Yeah, Janikowski.
Punter.
Janikowski was a kicker.
Yeah.
A punter.
Punter.
Ouch.
You don't draft a punter, dude.
Ouch.
But their last pick on round 6, they drafted a punter. This guy better be the best punter in the world to waste a draft pick on him.
Well, at least it's wasted on a place kicker.
Oh my goodness. All right, so real quick, I'm just going to roll through these draft grades for round 1. Titans got a B because they picked Cam Ward. Jacksonville got a B+. Man, that was an A+ to I don't care what anybody says. That was the only thing that shocked me the whole day. The fact that they traded up to make sure that they got Travis Hunter. And the Browns are such a crappy organization.
Ouch.
Crappy, and we're going to get to that here in a second.
Be nice.
New York, crappy organization, B+. Picked it. No, actually, you know what? They should have chose.
No. What they did last year in free agency, letting what's the Barkley, Saquon go, and the other guy from that went to the Green Bay Packers. They let some quality guys leave that organization because they're
not the best run. But I agree with their pick on there.
Crappy too.
They probably should have picked a quarterback in round 1. But anyway, you know what? I'm not going to go through these draft grades because I don't agree with any of them. Because the Browns, they picked a defensive tackle in Mason Graham, and they got an A-.
That was a good one.
Not at the 5th spot. They didn't need a quarterback because they already had.
They already had a
Let's
plan.
just talk about it. Let's just talk about it because I'm upset about this as Shedeur Sanders, and I'm not even a CU buff like a super fan or nothing. I go to CSU, so and went to CSU.
Do you believe that it's a conspiracy behind it? I think it was.
I think. Have you ever seen the movie Draft Day?
No.
All right, so there's a movie called Draft Day with Kevin Costner. Came out a few years ago. I can't remember. It's less than 10 years, but it's a few years ago. It's got Dennis Leary in it. It's got like a whole bunch of actors in it, and it takes you through like this draft day scenario as the Cleveland Browns, right? And in this movie, Kevin Costner is playing a GM, and there's this quarterback that everybody is saying is pro ready, and there's nothing, they can't find any flaws, et cetera, et cetera. Well, he finds a character flaw in him, right? He finds out that he panics after he gets sacked several times. If there's like a linebacker or a defensive lineman that can get in his face, he gets happy feet, right? Like most quarterbacks, when you get smacked, you start to play with ghosts, right? You think you're going to get hit. You start getting happy feet. You start moving in the pocket. Then you start making errant throws. It's a domino effect, or some people call it quicksand. That's what happens. So anyways, he figures this out. He figures this out about this quarterback. And so he trades his next 3 first-round picks for the next 3 years to get the rights to this quarterback, okay? Then he finds out about his flaw, that he gets happy feet. So then he decides to pick a linebacker at number 1 overall, and then everybody's questioning, like, why didn't he pick the quarterback, right? That was the clear pick for number 1. So then this quarterback starts falling. Boom, boom, just like Dan Marino, just like not Brett Favre, but Aaron Rodgers, right? He starts falling back because of these character flaws. And now we see why. I mean, not Joe Montana. Why did I think of Joe Montana? What's his name from Miami? I just said his damn name. Dan Marino. Right. Dan Marino, I don't think he had too many character flaws in that sense. I just think they never put a good team around him. But when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, we can see now why he fell, you know what I'm saying, so far down, right. As opposed to going number 1 overall. But anyways, back to this movie. So the quarterback is falling and falling and falling, right? So Kevin Costner's character is trying to get his first-round draft picks back. He's trying to get the capital that he lost back. So he calls this other team, I can't remember who it was, like Tampa Bay or something like that, and he's talking to like a new GM. He finagles this guy into trading, all like number twos for his number one draft pick right now, which is right before the team, which was Seattle, was going to pick Bo Nix that he had just traded all of his first round picks to, right? Mm-hmm. So then, long story short, he ends up telling one of the GMs, one of the GMs asks him, well, what did you find on this quarterback, Bo something? What did you find on this quarterback? Why didn't you pick him? And he just said, well, it's a character thing for me. I think he's a bust. And then this kid fell. His stock plummeted. I think he ends up getting, he still ends up getting picked 6th or 7th, but he doesn't get the top tier money that he's supposed to get. And then, long story short, what I'm trying to say is that these things happen when GMs in the league get to talking around the water cooler. Collusion. And I think that's what happened to Shedeur. I think he got draft aid. I think he really did. I think that somebody somewhere, and it could be because of his dad. It could be because him. It could be because there's quotes out there saying that, I don't want to play for the Browns. I don't want to play for this team. They might as well not even draft me. Well, you got what you asked for. That you almost didn't get drafted, bro. Here's the thing, though. I sound pissed off at Shedeur, but I'm not. I'm more pissed off at the league that they could do this to. He was the best quarterback coming out. That is why the draft grade for the Titans is a B. You did not choose the best quarterback and then all of these quarterbacks that got chosen over Shedeur. You could throw race in there, but you can't because in Cam Ward black, it's like I honestly think it's his dad. If you ask me, I think it's his dad. I think it's Prime. I think it's nobody wants to deal with Prime, and they wanted to humble Shedeur.
I like Jackson Dart that went to the Giants with the 25th pick, but he's no Shedeur. He's no Shedeur.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? So
nope. You turned down the most accurate quarterback in the draft and then on top of that, Cleveland, you draft 2 quarterbacks. You drafted one before him.
That's why I felt it was something up. You see what I'm saying?
And then you drafted him in the 5th round. They wanted to humble him. They wanted to humble him.
They drafted that kid Gabriel, the quarterback.
Yeah.
Ahead of him. And, how could you justify that? You know what I'm saying?
I would love to hear the justification. Even the Broncos head coach came out and said all of these teams are fools. He would have chosen him if we didn't already have a quarterback.
Donald Trump said all these teams are fools. So when you have Donald Trump speaking about he said all these 31 teams that didn't draft him are fools for not drafting him. So
I don't really take anything he says to heart or head.
I know.
But he's not wrong in that, I guess. But the bottom line is that now Shedeur has a chip on his shoulder. So not only was he the most accurate and top quarterback, the best quarterback to come out of this draft, now he has a chip on his shoulder. And he's not going to want to play for the Browns. Y'all just signed him. He's a 5th round, right? When you sign him, he's going to go through that rookie quarterback, that rookie contract, and then he's going to dip on you. He's going to dip because the disrespect is palpable. Like, you can literally feel it, man. It's just the disrespect. You wanted to humble him. Now watch what this man does. Watch what this man does in this, and then Shiloh we kind of knew was going to go late. Because of his position. He plays safety. That's not going to be
get drafted.
No, he went undrafted though
to Tampa, but
he went undrafted. But we kind of knew that was going to happen because safeties are players that really don't have enough skill to play corner or wide receiver, but they do have good enough hands and they can ball hawk to a certain extent to where they can disrupt plays. At least the good ones do.
Right.
I wouldn't have been mad if the Broncos would have been able to sign him on a undrafted free agency, rookie free agent contract. So I wouldn't have been mad. And I think that Mr. Vinny is right. He said we need to go 90 minutes. I don't think we can, though. I know Mr. Larry's got to get to work. So we got 10 minutes. See, we can't keep going on subjects.
Right.
But let's try to, in the next 10 minutes, let's try to get this NBA playoff scenarios going. So first I want to talk about the Denver Nuggets and their, obviously we got to talk about that and their crazy win. And yes, Nugget Nation, I know they blew another 20-point lead in the playoffs, but at least this time they won. And here's another thing. They kept their composure because they lost that 20-point lead and went down by 1, and still managed to win the game. It was tied if AG doesn't make that miraculous dunk, and it barely left his fingertips, man. I mean, it barely. It was I was going to say, I might as well say it. It was literally a nut hair away off of his fingers.
Wow. Really?
My daughters have heard me say that before. It's okay.
Okay.
But that dunk, man, he probably should have just tapped it in, and that would have been the safer bet. But the fact that he was just there, and, there was like this comedic after the game comedic joke between him and Joker when they were interviewing them, and AG said that was a pass. And when they asked Joker straight up, he was like, no, it was not a pass. It was not a pass. He just threw up a prayer. And when they asked Joker, they said, what were you thinking? This is going to be terrible. That's what he thought. Joker is funny, man.
Well, the thing is, you guys have to, I guess, only thing you guys got to do is just don't give up those big leads. And,
Bruh, I mean, that's another thing. I posted it last night. Like, yes, they gave up a 20-point lead. This team doesn't know how to play from ahead. They only know how to play from behind. And I will never understand that. They're trying to give me cardiac arrest. What are you doing? Why can't you play from ahead with the lead? Why?
But they've been like this for years.
Well, I even saw Joker, and this is the one knock I'm going to give on their play yesterday, is they kept trying to slow down the ball, and waste the clock. And the Clips were like, no, we're still trying to win this game, and they kept attacking. And that's what the Nuggets should have done. If they had kept attacking and been up by 20 and tried to make it 25-30, then the Clips would have pulled their starters. But they didn't. They were just trying to waste the clock, and that almost cost them the game.
That's how, really good teams, they would just keep their foot on.
Bruh, that's the difference between a killer instinct and not, and that's the difference between an alpha and a beta. An alpha's got killer instinct. I'm gonna put my foot on your neck,
until you submit,
until you pass out, my dude. Like you're either gonna tap or you're gonna pass out. I'm not lifting my foot though. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm not moving my foot once I have it on your neck. And that the Nuggets, even I would say the only time I've ever seen the Nuggets have killer instinct was their miraculous run in 23 when they did win the championship. They seemed to have that killer instinct. As soon as a team would kind of crawl back into the game, get to about 7 to 4 points close, they would pull away to 10, 15, 20, and then it would be to the point where teams were just like, okay, we're just not going to be able to catch these guys. Similar to what the LA Clippers did to the Nuggets in Game 2. Like, the Nuggets would crawl back in, get to about 10 to 7 points, and then they'd be like, oh, how cute. Now we're going to extend it to 15 again. And it was just like, by the time you got to about 4 minutes left in the game, it was just like, there's no effort that you could give that's going to win this game for you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and that's killer instinct. Now, the Clippers don't have that every game, obviously.
But it's going to be a slug. I already predicted it's going to be a Game 7 slugfest.
Well, I kind of figured the Nuggets should have beat them in 5 because they should have won Game 2. They should have won Game 2, and they should have won Game 3 as well.
They got blown out in 3.
I know they did, but they should have won. They should have won those games. Like, they were leading in that game.
All the games they was leading in.
Right. They should have, in all honesty, they should be sweeping this team.
That's what I'm saying. By your knowledge, they should have swept. But the thing is, that's not the case.
No, it's not. Now we're at where we're at.
And it's going to be a slugfest.
I don't know about that. I think the Nuggets, they awoke a sleeping giant last night. I really do. Well, hopefully, them losing a 20-point lead, they can, that lit a fire up under their backside, and they can.
I feel about the Clippers, so hey.
Well, they get 2 days off. The Nuggets get 2 days off, so they exerted a lot of energy to win that game. They kept their starters in 40 plus minutes their starters played to win that game. That's not going to be sustainable against OKC or any other team in this playoffs. So I suggest you figure out a way, Adelman and Nuggets, to score without Jokic on the floor. You need to figure that out now because you're not going to make it past this team.
Easier said than done, my guy.
I know it's easier said than done, but they're professionals. They should be able to figure it out. And Adelman has been a prospect. He's been a prospect for a head coaching job for years now. He's interviewed at least 2 or 3, maybe 4 times for a head coach. Now he hasn't gotten it, but the fact of the matter is that they're looking at him. And you know, Joker needs help from his teammates. They're being bad teammates right now by, you know, missing shots and not focusing and not putting in quality minutes when he's off the floor. I do think that they could have still given him a 2-3 minute break in the fourth quarter while they were still up.
I don't know why Jamal Murray just don't go off.
You know,
because he's that second dude.
He is, and he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be the guy when Jokic is sitting down. That's his time to get those, you know, those points. But he's not. He hasn't played bad, but he hasn't been playoff Murray either. And I guess you can say this is what happens when you fire your coach, you know, 3 games before the playoffs. But
yeah, he loves his veterans.
But speaking of veterans and bad teammates,
why you do this, bro? Why you always do that?
Well, because LBJ walked off on his teammates after a loss to Minnesota the other day, and I think that's garbage, man. I think that's garbage for him to do that. You're 40 years old, bro. You're 40. Act accordingly.
He was just feeling the moment.
I don't care.
You know,
show some composure. Show some what is it called? Decorum. Show some decorum, man. He has no respect. He's just a baby sometimes, man.
Well, yeah, he pretty much was more disappointed in JJ if anything. But you know.
Well, but what did you say when we were off air? What did you say?
What, he wanted JJ?
No. Well, yeah, I said he got the coach he wanted.
Yeah.
So he can't blame the coach. He got exactly who he wanted as his coach. But what did you say? He's not really a.
I ain't saying that.
You gonna say it?
I ain't saying.
What did you say? LeBron James is not really a.
He's not really of my team. You like
he
that?
said he's not truly a Laker.
He's not truly of my team.
He's not truly a Laker, is what you said, dog. Just say it. Just say it. Stand 10 toes on it, bro.
He's not of my.
He said he's not Lakers ilk.
I was gonna say ilk.
He's not good enough to be a Laker? Yeah. I want to hear you say it, Larry. Say it on air, bro. Go on, say it. Say it, Larry. Say it with your chest.
He's not of my team's choosing.
No, don't do that. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Can't be scared. Don't be scared. You got the mic. Say it.
Nah.
You scared. You scared. Don't be scared. You a man. Just say it.
He wasn't my free agent choice in 2018.
Oh,
I'd rather for real. We talked about this. I don't know. We talked about it back in the day, but I preferred Paul George. You know, Paul George was a free agent at time. We would have been. I don't know. I think thinking back.
Paul George is injury prone.
I know.
Man.
I'm thinking back in 2018. If we got Paul George and then Kawhi would have definitely came instead of going to the Clippers and Paul George getting traded.
Oh, man.
It's a whole big, I don't know we got much time, but it's a whole big shindig, like a what if, you know what I'm saying? Because Paul George was a free agent just like LeBron James, but we got LeBron as a free agent and then he signed back with OKC, Paul George, for that big contract. And a year later, they got Kawhi Leonard and then the Clippers traded everything, SGA, everything to get Paul George. So I'm thinking, like, if we would have got Paul George in free agency, we would have got Kawhi. We wouldn't have spent that much, but we wouldn't have never got a chip in 2020. And that's when it's growing.
Nah, you might with those three with PG, Kawhi, and LeBron, man, that would have been tough.
Oh, LeBron wouldn't. No, PG do not want to play with LeBron. If we would have got PG, LeBron would have went. Who knows?
Oh, you're talking about if the Lakers had just got PG and
free
Kawhi.
And free agency.
Without LeBron.
Exactly. I don't think,
okay.
PG did not want to play with LeBron. So when we signed LeBron, and
not many people do. I'm starting to notice that there's people that actually don't. There's all these people that want to play with LeBron until they play with LeBron, and then nobody wants to play with LeBron. But anyways, with that said, the NBA is crazy. The NFL draft was crazy.
Yeah.
Sports is live and cracking, man. We're getting close to NBA or the NFL season starting. I can't wait. NBA is in full swing. We're gonna have to check the score on LA. It looks like it's tied right now, 55-55, LA and Minnesota in Minnesota. Going into the half. I think it's 90 seconds left. It's on ABC if you want to peep it out. All right. Well, we'll be here next week. Check us on the same bat channel, same bat time. Sportz Phenz. Don't forget to come on by Sohai Cafe, 4300 West Alameda. Don't forget to visit IMV 700 South Buckley, Unit K.
I'm hungry.
We see you. We see y'all next week. Deuces.